I want to call to order the October 1st, 2019 Lake Mills City Council meeting. Roll call, please.
Mr. Fields?
Here.
Mrs. Fritsch?
Here.
Mr. Foster?
Here.
Ms. Schmidt?
Here.
Mr. Fritsch had previously informed staff he would be unavailable for tonight's meeting.
Okay. Let's all do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Corrections and/or approval of the City Council minutes of September 17th, 2019. I have a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, are there any additions or corrections? Okay, seeing none, call the roll.
Mr. Foster?
Aye.
Ms. Schmidt?
Aye.
Mr. Fields?
Aye.
Mrs. Fritsch?
Aye.
Motion passed 4-0.
Okay, that moves us to correspondence. Do we have anyone that would like to share correspondence?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Let's see. In general, nothing either. It's a quiet week, 2 weeks. And, I know that our contact people on our road projects have been busy with answering questions for the people living on Mulberry and South Main. So I guess we covered a lot of it that way. Moving on to item 6, questions and public comment. All right, the public is encouraged to address the council at this time regarding items on the agenda. Public comment may also be made at this time on items that are not on the agenda if you have registered with the city clerk before the meeting had been called to order. The state's open meeting law discourages action by the council on items not listed on the agenda. Please keep your comments limited to 3 minutes and state your name and address when starting your comments, and fill out the sign-in sheets provided on the podium. Anyone wish to address the council at this time, please come up to the podium. Okay, seeing no one, we will move on. City Manager's Report, number 7. Steve?
I think the only thing that was attached to the agenda was the PD report.
Mm-hmm.
And we received a notice of rate change from the Lake Mills EMS. So you'll note that that was one of the changes in your budgets. So you might want to go back and look at that because that occurred Monday. South Main Street is still moving ahead pretty quickly. They should be at substantial completion by the end of next week. They'll still have a lot of work to do, but most of the asphalt and concrete should be done.
So does that mean it's going to be fully open and passable for the winter?
No. You still have the guys putting the streetlights, striping. They'll be doing, they caulk they seal the cracks. You know, they cut all the concrete and then they put actually a tar seal into that. They'll be doing landscaping. They'll be doing a few other cleanups. Obviously, the punch list items that they're going to be taking care of. So those will be items. And they'll be in the street with equipment. So it's still an under construction street until they actually pull all the signage. So I doubt that they'll open up that south end until they're complete. And then there's, we debated partial acceptance of the project, how that would occur today. So we'll see how that goes, where they're at, what they have done, what we want to accept or not.
Have they poured concrete at the end, by Woodland Beach down?
No, they're done with the concrete now. It'll be the rest of it'll be asphalt, and they won't put concrete in until next year.
Okay.
But they will come in and asphalt it to put in.
So at some point, for local people especially, the road will be open.
Yes.
On the south
It'll be,
end.
yeah, at some point in the next, I would say by November 1st, you can pretty much guarantee that it'll be open. I don't want to go before then,
Well-
too much before then.
Right, and we don't want to send people down there now and say, oh, they said on the council meeting it was open.
No.
Yeah, so
I don't
it's
want to do
not.
that yet either. There's a lot of cleanup work that you don't want people driving through, When you're doing the landscaping and you're backing up that big wheel loader with the dirt in it, or, you're running a skid steer up and down, grading that out, and you pop out, you don't want to find out someone's right behind you. Mulberry Street, I haven't seen anything on Mulberry Street for a while.
Yeah, well, at least the northern part's got one coat of blacktop.
Yes,
Thank you, God.
and I heard that they did a little grading on the south end. I anticipate we'll have the library completely done by the time this is done, but I got one complaint today about failure to maintain Madison Street, which has been an ongoing problem.
What happened on Madison Street?
Well, they haven't been maintaining the material in the street, so it gets pretty rough. You get some pretty bad potholes.
Oh,
We've contacted them, we've talked to them about that at almost every meeting. And we'll press them again tomorrow, but
That's going to see a lot of traffic this weekend with the Fall Festival coming up, too.
That's that yearly contract we signed with, is that what you're talking about, pressing them on Madison?
no, we're gonna, DOT runs the job. So we talked to Holly, and Holly is the one who actually is the engineer. That's the correspondence between us, and it's actually a DOT contract. So DOT's the one that really presses it. Street maintenance contracts, most of our street work is done with oil and chip and mill and overlay. I think Mildred still has one final coat that needs to go on, probably happen about the same time they finish up the asphalt on South Main Street. We do have a lot of patches, water main patches, sewer repair patches, and other types of patches that we want to get done yet this fall. Anticipating they're going to start probably the final week of October, the first week in November, and run until they're done. Run until the plants close. They're also starting sidewalks this week, so probably as soon as they're done with that sidewalk at the library, they'll start moving out to our other sidewalk repair sites. So if you've seen markings on the sidewalks that aren't on Mulberry, those are probably our repairs. Sandy Beach, the archaeological report is done. It hasn't been submitted yet, but I anticipate that any day. We did receive our recreational boating facilities grant for $485,000. It actually comes in at $465,600. And then if they have money left in April, they finalize and give us all the rest of it. We'll look at taking council action. I'm got to check. I know some of these they just give us the grant and they'll send us the paperwork later. Sometimes they require the council to take action to accept the
well,
grant.
we need to take action because we haven't done that yet. Actual south on Sandy Beach.
Oh, right, yeah, to say what we're going to.
We definitely, we have
But
to,
this- he
whether
was
they
talking
require
about-
us to or not.
Yeah, he was just talking about accepting the grant.
Oh, okay. Would that be two different things? Yeah, probably, huh? Okay, no wonder.
Well, it depends on how they look at it, because we did the resolution previously. And they may think they may consider that our acceptance of the grant. So I don't want to, sometimes they send it, like I said, sometimes they send it afterwards and say, hey, we need you to do this, and sometimes they do it before, so I just didn't check on that yet.
Will we know that by the next council
Yes,
meeting?
we'll know. If we need to, I'll have it on the agenda.
Okay.
I'll talk to Cheryl.
Okay,
Design, we'll probably start the design real shortly here, because if we want to have that under construction sometime next summer, we're going to want to have that design done quickly. Because although we have a concept, we don't actually have a design.
right.
Fayetteville Walkway will be on your next agenda. I don't know, you want to run it through Parks again first, or?
About how we were talking about roading that sidewalk?
I put it together in 3 options.
Okay.
So, then the Parks Board can at least make a recommendation on one of the options and send it forward. I'll do that. I'll send it to Parks Board first, and then,
That'll work.
You have a meeting before our council meeting, don't you?
I think it's right after.
Oh, right after.
I can look at the calendar real
Well,
quick.
that won't help.
I don't know, if you've been by the library parking lot? Should go by.
I can't get down there, Mulberry Street's not done.
Yeah, there are other ways. We cut Rock Lake driveway. We'll put that driveway in for them. So,
Oh, you did do that now.
yep.
Wow, good, thank you
Put the
for,
old apron out, and we cut the pavement, or the curb, and so it should be ready to, I don't know when we'll actually pour the apron, but it's ready.
are you talking about Rock Lake Activity Center? Okay, just a little hard for my ears at the moment.
All right. We are done with our lead service lateral reporting. There's still I think there's still 10 people out there who haven't filed the grants. They may want to get that done because there is a timeline.
Do they know who they are?
I sure hope so.
I mean, has there been communication with them and us in the recent past?
There was communication that they were awarded the grant, so they should have the document.
Well, sometimes people need a little help.
Yeah, life gets in the way.
Well, yeah, they might not really. Can we just, if there's only 5, can we touch base with them one more
Yeah.
time and make sure they understand they have a timeline? Just out of courtesy.
Yeah. The radium requirement, it's still not fully through the DNR, but I think all they wanted was a date from us, and we're working with CTW to get the date, so that'll be done here shortly. We got notice that we have to finish our report on phosphorus compliance, which is a review and an analysis of potential trading partners. So I think we've identified 17 potential trade partners. I don't think that any of them actually fully qualify, but at least we've done our analysis and can submit it to the DNR. We received our official response from the DNR on our compliance maintenance annual report for the wastewater treatment plant, and it was excellent. Brookstone is still moving forward. Construction we have concrete sidewalk, curb and gutter sidewalks and paving to do, and then we're pretty much done with the lots for this year. There is some electric going in. I assume somebody will be applying for permits shortly. The other item is the annexation tonight. That's a potential subdivision. We are reviewing the Horizon site plan. It's 90% done. There are a couple little items that we need to finalize, but other than that, that's done. than that, I'm done. Any questions?
Now, just one comment that I forgot to mention. I had a few folks come up to me and tell me how much they like the new streetlights going up on South Main Street, so.
I have several people on South Main. They said it's a nice height, and they're very happy with them.
Yeah.
I can't wait till they all light up. They only go they don't go all the way down to Phillips. So, but once they get that second phase done, then they'll light up all the way down to that first phase. That'll be nice.
Oh, since you're talking about streetlights, might want to, I'm going to, point of personal privilege, just mention that due to the fact that the city hasn't taken ownership of the project downtown on Main Street, there will not be holiday lights, because we don't own the street poles yet.
Unless you were just talking about a partial acceptance. If there's a partial acceptance, we may be able to put it on some of them.
Well,
If we do that.
yes and no.
We can't put the old ones
We
on.
can't
They
put the
don't
old
fit.
ones on.
Right, okay.
So we'd have to order some new ones, so.
Yeah.
But at least to let people know that this will be a less decorated year.
Yeah.
Not
South Main,
Not because we don't care, but because we don't own the poles yet, so.
yeah.
Okay. Did we get everything that you had?
Everything I had, unless anybody
That
wants
sounds pretty busy.
more.
Next
Plus,
par-
on
next
top
parks-
of, huh?
The next parks meeting will be the 16th, so the day after our next meeting.
Also, under your report, we should mention that you've prepared and have presented to the council the budget for next year.
Yes, I've done the initial presentation.
Right,
Still have another work session before the next council meeting, and then
right.
I think we may have one on the end of October, but you won't be here, right?
Yeah, that last week of October, I'll be traveling.
So anyway, just that the public knows that not only is the council meeting extra, but Steve's been working very hard on
And it
getting
is-
the budget ready.
And it is available out there for the public.
Yeah, you
to
can
view.
take a look at it. So, okay. Anything else for Steve? Seeing none? Let's move on to item 7, acceptance of minutes of the Parks Board for July 17th, 2019. The Planning Commission for August 27th, 2019. The Housing Authority of May 28th, 2019. And the Housing Authority of June 25th, 2019. They will be accepted and placed on file. And council business item number 9. First item is tavern operators licenses. Would you read those names, please?
Jennifer Hansen, Lauren Hankins, and Natalie Rice.
Someone have a motion to approve these tavern operators licenses?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Ms. Schmidt,
Aye.
Mr. Fields,
Aye.
Mrs. Fritsch,
Aye.
Mr. Foster.
Aye.
Motion passed 4-0.
Okay, thank you. Item B, Resolution 1947. Would you read that, please, for me? The title and
Resolution 1947, Conditional Use Permit Declarations and Findings, Steve Wassmann, 651 South Ferry Drive.
Okay, we need a motion to discuss it.
Move approval or adoption of Resolution 1947.
Second.
Get the words out there sooner or later.
Right. So we have a motion and a second. Discussion.
So this did go through the Plan Commission, and we did go through all the findings of facts, and we didn't find it to be detrimental. We actually looked at it and said this is a It's a very good use of that property, and the potential building of it is going to be in harmony with the rest of the buildings around it, so it may even be a little smaller than some of the other buildings, the houses around it. And it'll primarily look like a single residence. And the plan right now is for it to be an owner-occupied, one of the sections, and then rental for the second section. So as we went through all the findings of fact, we didn't find any issues with it, and so the Plan Commission approved it and moved it forward to us up here.
Okay, any other questions or discussions on this item? Seeing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fields?
Aye.
Mrs. Fritsch?
Aye.
Mr. Foster?
Aye.
Ms. Schmidt?
Aye.
Motion passed 4-0.
Okay. Our next item, I believe, is housekeeping. Would I be correct in assuming county library tax exemption is not a yearly event? Okay, would you read that resolution title for us?
Resolution 1948, resolution requesting exemption from county library tax.
Do I have a motion to approve?
I move adoption of Resolution 1948.
Second.
Okay. Any comments, questions, whatevers? Seeing none, call the roll.
Mrs. Fritsch?
Aye.
Mr. Foster?
Aye.
Ms. Schmidt?
Aye.
Mr. Fields?
Aye.
Motion passed 4-0.
Okay. Second reading on ordinance 1206A. Would you read the title for that, please?
Ordinance 1206A, amending City of Lake Mills Ordinance 615-15, no parking zones, City of Lake Mills, Wisconsin.
Okay. Now, there were some changes, right?
Yep.
So those were made.
Yep, they are included as the last bolded section prior to Section 2, Catlin Drive east of Milton Street and Catlin Drive east of Milton Street, south and north.
Okay. And this
And
is,
the other change that was added is Council Representative Foster as sponsoring the ordinance.
good, thank you. And this is the second reading. There was no one at public comment to comment on it, and anybody on the council have any comments they want to state before we move on?
No, it looks like all the changes are in there. And
Do we need a third reading tonight on this for any reason? No, okay, so we'll just move it to the next meeting then. Okay, item E, ordinance 1207. Would you read that for us, please?
Ordinance 1207, an ordinance annexing territory to the City of Lake Mills, Jefferson County, Wisconsin. Parcel identification number 018-0713-2423-003. The City Council of the City of Lake Mills, Jefferson County, Wisconsin does ordain as follows. Section 1, territory annexed in accordance with State Statute 66.0217 State of Wisconsin statutes and the attached and incorporated petition for annexation and annexation exhibit filed with the clerk of the City of Lake Mills on or about September 10th, 2019, signed by the owners of the property, which provides a full legal description of the property to be annexed and identifies the property to be annexed as territory located in the town of Lake Mills, Jefferson County, Wisconsin. The property is hereby annexed to the City of Lake Mills, Jefferson County, Wisconsin. Section 2, effect of annexation. From and after the date of this ordinance, the territory described in Section 1 shall be part of the City of Lake Mills, Jefferson County, Wisconsin, for any and all purposes provided by law, and all persons coming or residing within such territory shall be subject to all ordinances, rules, and regulations governing the City of Lake Mills. Section 3, ward designation. The territory described in Section 1 of this ordinance is hereby made a part of Ward 3 of the City of Lake Mills, subject to the ordinances, rules, and regulations of the City of Lake Mills governing wards. Section 4, the official City of Lake Mills zoning map. The territory described in Section 1 is hereby included within the boundaries of the City of Lake Mills, depicted in the official City of Lake Mills zoning map, which is hereby amended in accordance with this ordinance and City of Lake Mills Code 660-44. Section 5, severability. If any provision of this ordinance is invalid or unconstitutional, such invalidity or constitutionality shall not affect the other provisions or applications of this ordinance that can be given effect without the invalid or unconstitutional provision of application. Section 6, effective date. This ordinance shall take effect upon passage and publication as provided by law.
This is an ordinance, first reading. Dan, did you have any comments for us?
No. Corey O'Donnell is here from Loose Homes. They are the prospective developer of the annexed land once it's annexed into the city of Lake Mills. So perhaps if you have any questions for him, my only comment is the property is adjacent to the boundaries of the city of Lake Mills, contiguous to the city of Lake Mills right now, and it is a direct annexation. The petitioner is in fact the owner of the property, so.
It's consistent with our future land use plan. It's consistent with our water and sewer plans, consistent with our transportation plan and our comp plan. So from a standpoint that this is what we've anticipated, it's also consistent with the municipal boundary agreement. So it's what we've anticipated for a long time.
Do we need to suspend the rules to have him speak or not because of him being a director?
It's up to you. If you want him to speak, you need to suspend the rules.
I'd like to bring him up and let him, but I can't.
Exactly about him.
Do we need a motion on this?
Yeah, I think so. To suspend the rules to let him speak.
Excuse me, I'll make a motion to suspend the rules to allow the gentleman to come up and speak on this.
A second.
Call the roll.
Mr. Foster?
Aye.
Ms. Schmidt?
Aye.
Mr. Fields?
Aye.
Mrs. Fritsch?
Aye.
Motion passed 4-0.
Up to the mic, Corey.
So,
Good evening. Corey O'Donnell, Loose Homes, petitioner for the direct annexation of almost 20 acres of property. We're looking at continuing the momentum that Loose Homes has in the city of Lake Mills and looking at developing another 42 lots in the city. We've seen strong active sales, and we want to continue that momentum in continuation with what we're doing in Brookstone Meadows. We see this as another active potential area for development in the city, and we wanted to move forward with annexation into the city and then pursuing a concept plan and a preliminary plat that we'd bring forward for a single-family residential development on the south side.
when do you anticipate beginning, if everything goes as planned, building?
Well, ideally, if we could get the entitlements done over the winter and out for bid, making sure it's not cost prohibitive, and then we'd be looking at construction as early as next season if things go well, probably fourth quarter before we think probably things would move along to a point where we could develop. But yeah, ideally, fourth quarter or late fall, early fall next year.
And you said something like 40 possible?
Yeah, we're envisioning that we could get like 42 single-family lots on the south side there, adjacent to Mud Lake Road.
Anybody else have questions?
Didn't we look at some of that area over there as possibility, not just for single family, but for like condos and other high-rise things like that as part of our comprehensive plan?
Our future land use plan, which is part of the comprehensive plan for that area because it's in the town of Lake Mills,
Yeah.
does it by a very density. So it allows for multiple densities across the uses. So it would incorporate anything from the R4 up to the R8 as being, and condos as being a part of that zone. Some of it might even hit up into the R10s and 12s.
Only reason I bring it up is I know we have shortage of affordable type housing, things like that for workers, and while I really do enjoy the growth and having the extra single-family houses out there, I just want to make sure we're looking at all aspects, and if it could potentially fit into some of that, or,
No, we'll come forward with a proposal on that. Staff has been working on that pretty hard.
all right,
But I don't see this as falling into that category yet. I imagine from this is a ridge that rides up from Mud Lake Road,
right.
and it's got a pretty good view to the west. I imagine that, I think that Corey's looking at, $300,000 to $500,000 homes.
I will mention, just this week again, I had some retired people saying that
Yeah.
I sure wish we could get some housing that would be made with retirees in mind.
Yeah.
No steps and things of that nature. So maybe the ones facing east then aren't quite as beautiful. Could be
Yeah.
a little less expensive and,
I think you're gonna look at those more in the downtown area as some of the redevelopment occurs. So we'll look at that. We'll come up with some proposals for that too. I think as some of the development changes in downtown, that may take 6 months yet. The other one we'll probably have by January.
So these other lots that are sitting out there all around it, there's a couple lot ones, lot twos. Are those all part of the town still?
No, in fact, almost,
'Cause I'm looking at it and I see a boundary between the city and the town.
the west side of Mud Lake Road is in the city.
Okay,
And the old concrete factory is in the city.
okay,
And then, the school district's property and St. Paul's are all in the city. So a pretty large chunk of that area is actually in the city of Lake Mills.
is any of this property gonna be affected by whatever, well, I'm assuming it will, by the reconstruction of that Mud Lake, Topol Street and 89? Is it gonna lose any?
As far as the reconstruction of the tie-in of Mud Lake to Topol Street, no. It all will impact Lot 1 on the west side there. The roadway is being constructed for the potential rerouting of County Highway 8 over to Untz Haven.
Okay.
That would tie into CP Avenue. That is part of this development. So Corey, we've been working with Corey for a while to at least have concepts available for it. These are some of the things you're going to have to,
Yeah. So you said taking A over to Unshaven. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
if you read our transportation plan, that's been in there for a long time.
Yeah.
Is to route G and A over to CP Avenue so that there's more, that we split the traffic more from 89 and G. As our transportation plan is to have as many through routes as possible.
so, and this is the first of 3 readings. This is also not something we have to rush through.
No, in fact, we have to wait for the state to provide comment. So generally, the full 3 readings gets us just barely to where the state has finalized their comments.
Well, thank you for showing interest here. We really appreciate the growth that you're providing for us.
You're going to make a lot of people happy.
Well, it's been a strong community for us, and we want to continue that, and we're happy to be here.
Well, look forward to seeing you again.
Yes, you'll be seeing me a lot of.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you
for
for your
coming up
action.
to
Thank
the
you.
podium. Anybody else? We're fine? Okay, that was the first reading. We can move on, right? Okay. Item F, would you just read? Everybody's going off on something.
Everybody's getting a flash flood.
Oh, is that the flash flood thing?
I don't know.
That's the big storms are supposed to hit about 8 o'clock.
Yeah,
It's
so,
raining again.
oh, okay. Okay, well, we're on the second last item here, so, and both of them are first readings. And both of them have to do with the budget. So, would you read that, please?
Ordinance 1208, 2020, General Government Budget and Tax Levy Ordinance. An
Okay.
ordinance appropriating the necessary funds for the operations of the general government and debt service funds of the City of Lake Mills, Wisconsin for the year 2020. The City Council of the City of Lake Mills, Jefferson County, Wisconsin does ordain as follows. Section 1, there is hereby appropriated out of the receipts of the City of Lake Mills for the year 2020, including monies received from the general property tax levy to the various purposes specified in the budget presented herewith.
I'm going to stop you, just read the totals.
Okay. So the summary of adopted general government budget for 2020, revenues, total revenues, the 2020 proposed is $5,271,800. Expenditures, total expenditures, the 2020 proposed is $5,271,800.
5 million?
Sorry, 5 million, you're right.
Wishful thinking.
Expenses, total expenses, the 2020 proposed is $1,787,400. Revenues, total revenues, the proposed is $1,787,400. The amount required for debt service levy, general property tax levy, the grand total 2020 proposed is $4,260,500. Section 2, there is hereby levied a tax of $2,473,100 for all purposes and $1,787,400 for debt service on all taxable property within the City of Lake Mills as returned by the assessor in the year 2019 for the uses and purposes set forth in said budget.
Thank you. First reading, we will have another budget meeting at 6 o'clock before our next council meeting. And we'll move on to item G, ordinance 1209. Just read the title for that one.
Ordinance 1209, 2020 capital budget. I think I have to read the whole thing.
Oh, do you? Okay. All right, go ahead.
An ordinance appropriating the necessary funds for the operation of the capital budget of the City of Lake Mills, Wisconsin for the year 2020. The City Council of the City of Lake Mills, Jefferson County, Wisconsin does ordain as follows. Section 1, there is hereby appropriated out of the receipts of the City of Lake Mills for the year 2020, including monies received from the general property tax levy to the various purposes specified in the capital budget presented herewith. For the purposes therein stated, the following amounts. 2020 capital budget, revenues, total revenues, the 2020 proposed is $2,814,500. Expenditures, the total expenditures, 2020 proposed, $2,814,500. Section 2, there is hereby levied a tax of $161,100 for capital purposes on all taxable property within the City of Lake Mills, as returned by the assessor in the year 2019 for the uses and purposes set forth in said budget. Section 3, that the treasurer is hereby authorized and directed to spread this tax on the current tax roll of the City of Lake Mills. Section 4, this ordinance shall take effect to be enforced from and after its passage and publication.
And the numbers for this in its entirety are available online on the city website. And anyone with questions is welcome to call City Hall if they have something they don't understand so that we can answer those questions. Okay, moves to second reading. Recommendations for future agendas. We talked about having the item on for the Sandy Beach. And that is because we have not actually approved the
The plan.
plan. So we need to do that, and then Steve will check to find out if we have to do something to accept the grant.
Accept the grant, yep.
Anybody have anything else for future agendas? Seeing none, meeting is adjourned. I'm